Hospital Porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Hapanwo TV. Well, as many of you in the comments section of the last videos have informed me, yes, I'm aware that there has been some developments since the last video I made on Monday about this particular subject. And the subject I'm talking about, of course, is the weird monoliths. And I say monoliths plural because now it appears we have monoliths galore. They seem to be popping up everywhere. Why that is, well, perhaps I'll come on to that in a minute about the other monoliths that have been going on. Later on, of course, I'll also address your questions and comments from the last video, as I did for the previous one. Now, first of all, it appears we may have solved the mystery of what happened to the Utah Monolith. Who took it away and why, apparently. A story broke by someone called Ross Bernards. He's a photographer, and he travelled with his companions to visit the Utah Monolith and to take some photographs of it and things like that. Anyway, he arrived there and was sort of sitting there just watching it for a while. This was sort of evening time, sort of late evening, and suddenly he heard some other people approaching, and he decided, so that the ravine wouldn't become too crowded, he and his friends decided to move away to allow the four people coming up the pathway towards the ravine, and they thought, well, let's give them a bit of space. Because apparently there is a pathway now, apparently there's where people footprints and things go, because it's become like the crop circles, you know, where loads of people go there. There's like a parking space where everyone parks up and like a little pathway leading into the ravine. And what happened was the four guys who went in there, they immediately started demolishing the monolith. It appears they had come to the location for that very purpose. They had with them a wheelbarrow to carry the pieces away. They broke it down. It didn't take them long. It was, despite the fact that it had been standing there quite happily for 5 years. It appeared it wasn't quite as robustly connected to the earth as we thought. And indeed, the photographs come to light showing the foundations only go down about an inch. It could be that they put it. One of the reasons it was put in the ravine was to avoid it being blown over by the wind. Anyway, the guys broke it. Pushed it down, pushed it onto its side, and then started to tear it apart. And they started pulling the various pieces, the rectangular sections of the prism and the triangular sections at the end apart. And yeah, you can see from the photograph there were two triangular sections, one at each end. So there is actually a triangle at the bottom as well. And indeed, I'll just show you that photograph now. That is the photograph that Ross Bernards took over the men demolishing the monolith. Apparently they just tore it to pieces and put it on the wheelbarrow like that. Now, what's interesting from the photograph, not only can you see there's a triangle at each end, you can see also. It's not the best photograph in the world. I expect Mr. Bernards was a bit flustered at the time. It's not very well exposed and focused. It's a bit blurry. No, it's not well lit. However, you can see quite clearly that the interior appears to be hollow. So there's nothing in there unless something was in there that was removed between the time that the thing was pulled down and the time that the photograph was taken. We don't know that for certain. But anyway, the guys, they just said. They did speak to Ross and his friends. They just said, one of the things they said was, presumably someone asked why you're doing that, and he said, this is why you don't leave trash in the desert. So this kind of echoes the Bureau of Land Management and what they said, because they did state that they would probably have to remove that monolith anyway because it was erected without planning permission. In what that area is actually a type of national park, and you can't just put up structures without planning permission. You need to go through the Bureau of Land Management to do that. So it appears that indeed later on, when it turns out that they found out who probably did this, they made another statement. I'll come to that in a minute about why they decided to demolish the monolith. They took their pieces away by a wheelbarrow, according to Ross Bernards, and the whereabouts now are unknown. Now, one thing Ross doesn't do, because apparently he heard them say leave no trace, which is odd because, as I explained before, when the people arrived on Saturday morning and found it gone, they found a cairn that someone had assembled, and one of the triangular facets that have been placed upright against the cairn, almost as a kind of memorial, which presumably was left behind by the four vandals. There's been some other reports as well. Now I don't know how true this is. This is unconfirmed. Somebody said they found a puddle of urine, as if someone had done a wee there, but that could have been anyone. I mean, people do that sort of thing. But also someone had written in the sand the words "bye bitches," by BYE bitches, as in goodbye bitches. Again, I don't know if that's true, or if it is true, whether it is actually connected to the destruction of the Utah Monolith. However, it's pretty clear the answers are coming now. We are making some progress. Now, then it gets curiouser and curiouser, because another monolith then appears. Yeah, this was actually on Sunday. This appeared on Sunday. A monolith was suddenly located. It was actually a historic hill fort, actually, in Romania, at a place called, it's a hillside. It was not concealed, it was put in a very prominent location where people could see it from miles around, and presumably the person had done this at night time so nobody would see them actually erecting the monolith. But it was a place called Piatra Neamt in Romania, and its size and shape is pretty much the same as the Utah Monolith. As far as I can tell, it's roughly the same dimensions. Now, it appears slightly different in consistency. The surface appears to be scored with what looks like circular marks. Now, this could indicate that it is made in a different manner. It could be made out of the type of, I don't know what type of metal it is. I think it's aluminium. It's some kind of aluminium alloy you find in air conditioning vents and things like that, which sometimes have these scoring marks on. When I first saw the photograph, I thought that's just made out of cardboard covered with tin foil. Indeed, it could be that, it still is, we don't know. But the problem is no one had time to really have a very good look at it, because the next day it was gone. Someone had just taken it away. So again, it is removed again. It's been removed again. And I thought, this is very odd. And indeed, I began to wonder if there's some kind of plan involved here, especially when one appeared in California as well. Because again, one appeared. I'll come on to that in a minute. Now you've got three monoliths, pretty much the same. And is this deliberate in some way? Is this maybe some kind of viral marketing campaign for, I don't know, silver Toblerone? Who knows? Have you seen Toblerone marketing a new thing in a silver box? You know, silver Toblerone? I don't know. But anyway, we assume that I'm going to assume for the time being that the stories so far are true about what Ross said about the destruction of the monolith was true. Indeed, we have an independent source for that now. But first of all, let me come on December the 2nd, which was Wednesday. A monolith appeared at Pine Mountain in Atascadero, California, USA. Now this is a different one. It appears that it was not made as robustly as the Utah monolith. It was not secured to the ground. I mean, the one in Romania appears to have foundations as well. This one appeared not to be secured to the ground. Now it was removed. Now we know who did it, because some people admitted it, at least if they're telling the truth. It was a group of Christians. They removed it, and this is really weird, because they removed it because they thought it had been put up there by Antifa. They thought it was anti-Christian, satanic, and it represented illegal immigration, and had something to do with Antifa. I mean, there's no evidence for that, but then a video was posted on YouTube by a certain Mr. Slackline. He's called that. He lives in Moab, Utah, which is near Moab and Utah, and it's nearby. And I know there's all kinds of occult connotations with the word Moab. Apparently, it's something. Moab, I think, is the mother of all bombs. I know that from the Iraq War. But it's also something to do with Sumerian mythology. It's interesting, incidentally, that when that war happened, they adopted a lot of local mythology into the campaign, into the war. For example, they talked about Shock and Awe, which some people think is a reference to Shakana, who was a goddess, a Sumerian goddess. And of course Moab is apparently a Sumerian deity, and that was the mother of all bombs. It's almost like a kind of humiliation thing. But anyway, I'm digressing. Yeah, Mr. Slackline. He's called that because he does slacklining. Now that's a bit like tightrope walking, but it's sometimes called slacklining or slack roping, where you do the same thing. You walk over a rope, but it's much more difficult because the rope is actually not taut, so it's much less stable. You have to balance yourself very carefully on this slack line. And there's a very short video. It's only 26 seconds. It's a very short video which shows a couple of other photographs. I think they may be Ross Bernard's photographs of the monolith being demolished. They look like they're from the same angle, same type of image. And there's a video, excuse me, there's a very short video, just about 5 seconds long, which shows some people manoeuvring what looks like the broken monolith, which it's got like some kind of internal structure, like it's got some struts on the edges, and the plates at the facets have been torn off, and you can see inside it. And they put a load of things inside the monolith where it's lying on the wheelbarrow, their bags and things like that. But they're just wheeling it away, it's night time and they're using torches. There's no other light. Now, Mr. Slackline, and gives his real name in a local newspaper, he released a statement explaining why he did it. He did it because he was concerned for the environment. He was bothered about the environment. He said that he didn't say what the BLM said. He just said, I think he was not concerned about the monolith itself. And let's face it, the monolith itself is not a threat to the environment. It's not exactly a toxic waste tank, is it? But he was concerned that the presence of the monolith would cause damage to the environment, because too many visitors would they'd leave litter around and things like that. And he was worried about it damaging damaging nature. That's what he meant by leaving trash in the desert. Because if it's the same person we're talking about here, but that's kind of what's happened. So we'll see if any more monoliths have occurred. I mean, you may find out actually during the course of, basically between when I'm filming this and when I upload it, another monolith has appeared somewhere. Who knows? I mean, we don't necessarily know who's doing this, and we don't know who did the California one. All they're saying in the Romania one, apparently there's a local news story called Journal. There's a local news outlet called Journal, which has discovered that there's a person claiming to have put up the Romanian monolith, and apparently he's what they said, he's a welder. Apparently they called him a local welder who is bad. That's it's translated obviously, which could explain. I mean, being a welder, he would have had the materials and the skills to put something like that together. This is rather. The fact that these objects appear and they disappear and they're anonymous, it's rather like several other phenomena I've noticed, which are kind of like real-life memes. One person does it, and it becomes very famous, and other people do copycat actions. And there's no real plan behind it. It just seems to catch on. A good example is the naked Trump statues. Do you remember, like shortly after Mr. Trump became president of the United States, statues started appearing everywhere depicting him naked. You also have that really weird period where lots and lots of people were going around dressed as clowns. Do you remember that? And it sort of really caught on. I mean, there was some paranormal elements connected to that, which I don't have time to talk about now. But it's just one of these weird things. It's one of these weird things that happens. So, is this part of a plan? Probably not. I was joking about the silver Toblerone. It's probably not part of a plan. And of course, from what I've seen, there is decreasing and to zero evidence that extraterrestrials are involved. This is clearly a man-made enterprise. Different people doing different things. But as I said in the original video, in the live stream, I think I said this at the start, the very fact that, as with Storm Area 51, the very fact that such issues are so prominent in people's psyches on a cultural level and an individual level is very, very healthy. It indicates there's a burgeoning awareness of these things. The very fact that people saw it and thought, oh, could that be aliens? The very fact that question even popped into people's heads shows we are making progress. And I mean, I saw a funny meme actually I think it was on Minds or Gab, It's like it says normal people. It shows normal people and conspiracy theorists. Just a connection. And on the normal people section, it has a bloke sort of standing on the street wearing a weird gas mask with a panel at the front, looking really scared. And then it said conspiracy theorists at the bottom, and you see a quite ordinary family sitting around a table eating dinner. And that's where that's where we're getting to now. It's we who were previously the nutters. We who were previously the loonies. We are now the ones who everyone turns to and thinks, you guys are talking more sense than anyone else. I mean, it's funny enough, just literally before I started filming, and I don't have time to talk about this now. No doubt, look out for there may be some kind of publication from me at some point about this. Check Panwo Voice as well as Panwo TV. But there's UFO Jesus said the other day that there will be some kind of revelation involving a new piece of video footage or a photograph or something like that. And anyway, he said it would come out the 2nd of December. It's come out today, which is just 2 days late. But I just think that's very interesting that Ryan, UFO Jesus, post-disclosure world, it seems that his prediction has come true because a photograph just emerged. Now, I haven't had a chance to look at it properly. It's kind of like weird. Oh, it's a weird looking thing. It's almost like a kind of inverted pyramid but it's not pure. It has like little ridges on it and things like that. But it's photographed from an FA-18 fighter, another US Navy photo apparently. But it just goes to show that that's now the connection with the monoliths are that these things are in the mainstream now. They are normal. They're acceptable. They have passed what you might call they passed the dinner table challenge, which is basically the way of saying you can sit around having a polite meal with someone and say, hey, should we talk about UFOs for a bit? And that's now acceptable. It's not. Well, at least it's more acceptable than it used to be. So, guys, let's have a look at your comments, shall we? Right then, ladies and gentlemen, Panwo TV viewers, I'm just going to put a really nice expression on my face so that the still, which inevitably emerges in video pad, is a pleasant one while you wait for the actual motion picture to kick in. Right, now I think probably you can see me moving around. I'm going to go to your comments, which were on the previous video entitled Utah Monolith Has Gone. I'm curious to see what you have to say. Now, as I said previously, I'm not going to make a habit out of this. The only reason I'm replying to your comments from the previous video is it's part of a series, really, on the Utah Monolith. All other comments and ones posted after I finish the series will be in the next comments reply video, which won't be long, actually. It'll just be a short time until the next one, just a couple of weeks. In the meantime, where do we go? Now we're going to go to all the various comments. Thank you for all your comments, everyone who's posted once on here. I've got quite a few on the last one. Let's have a look, shall we? So I'll also go to see if there are any new ones on the live stream. Daz a Star, hey Daz, how you doing, mate? How you doing? The first I seen of it, immediately thought it was a prank. Well, so far we don't know what it is, Daz. No one knows exactly what the motivation behind placing this object in 2015 or 2016 was. We'll find out anyway. Israel Diego Rivera 2 Genius 2 said they took it to be recycled. Well, I think the people who are most likely to have actually done this, that is disposed of the Utah Monolith, are probably... They seem to be very environmentally conscious, and their concern for the local wildlife and things like that seem to be their primary objective in destroying the monolith. So it could be that they've recycled. I imagine they've recycled the metal. Yeah. David UK Splendid Isolation. Hello, David. Thank you for listening to Panwo Radio last night. It may reappear yet. Remember the 2001 Seattle monolith reappeared shortly thereafter in another location. Did it? I didn't know that, David. I mean, obviously, like the 2001 original monolith appeared at Jupiter and places like that, but I didn't know they did that. No, I'm not sure. I wonder who made that. Seeing as that's 20 years ago, we're probably never going to find out. Rose Petal. Hello, Rose. It's probably the same as the Georgia Guidestones, put there by psychopathic demons trying to play God. I don't know, Rose. I mean, I don't know, because there's no... Unlike the Georgia Guidestones, which is kind of like poetic kind of Agenda 2030 reset kind of thing, there's nothing written on the Utah Monolith, nothing at all. It's completely mute. That's, if there is something sinister about it, then it's got nothing to do with what's written on there. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's possible it has some kind of occult purpose. We know how the occultists in the United States love their deserts. You know, Jack Parsons, the famous rocket scientist, he did that weird ritual with the actress, what's her name, Marjorie Cameron, in the desert near where Area 51 is now. Yeah. Charles Unleashed. I wasn't working out. We specifically specified transdimensional analog, no 5G broadband. We will never use Verizon again. It wasn't working. I see. So it was your doing, was it? Was it some kind of interdimensional communication device which you were connecting with your reptilian overlords? Who knows? The crafty nihilist laughs and thinks that's funny. It is funny. Well done, Charles. Yeah. 14 all 41 410K. I think I pronounced that right. Says, you know it's BS because the MSM reported it. Well, they report a lot of BS, yeah, but I mean, all they did was report its presence. They haven't said anything about what its cause was. They've forgotten about it by now, I expect. David Smith says, I don't know who took it or where it's gone, but I have a lovely new stainless steel sideboard. All right, David, I see. Did someone turn up at your door and say, excuse me, mate, do you want to buy some of this? We just got it from the desert. Do you want some? And you can convert it into something. They probably will make use of the metal, I expect, you know. Crafty Nihilist said, it'll probably be in a pretentious Christmas perfume advert with some tart in a gold dress and a plonker with an undone bow tie. Yes, it will he? Obelisk from Christian Dior. And get your Monolith, you will be irresistible. Monolith, the new fragrance for men. Just imagine it, can't you? Tina Silver says, taken by a thief in the night. Well, literally, that seems to be true, Tina, yeah. It looks like the thieves have been identified, unless there's some deeper part of the cover-up, in which case, why? Ravenhill, the Druid Sword Merchant, 1968, says, Ben, a bit off topic, but what do you think of these recent London riots and protests? I'm sorry I couldn't take... Well, not the riots, I believe in peaceful protests. I wish I could have gone myself to the one on Saturday. It was so good to see people, excuse me, getting out there and voicing their opposition to the lockdown. I did go to one in Oxford, my local area. That's it. Snownock says, Banksy has gone to the next level. Wouldn't it be funny if he or some other famous graffiti artist or Mere One or someone came out and said, I did it. I put this up here in 2015-16. I had a little sweepstake going to see how long it would take people to find it. Thing is, if someone makes that claim, they're going to have to prove it because, well, a lot of people are like just, a lot of people are going to confess just for the fun of it, you know. Jim Skim Pivot says, God bless the gullible and people who don't know how to use Google. Is that something to do with, is that something to do with the monolith? Because the monolith, you see, Jin Skim Pivot, really nobody thinks it's alien now. I mean, honestly, look, it took who's going to look at it, see the rivets, see how it's made, and think that's an alien? You'd have to be only a tiny minority of people would think that way. Patrick Patel, and by the way, I love your T-shirt, Ben. Respect, thanks, Patrick. It says this one I've got now says Super Bald. Actually, given to this, someone gave me this actually. Someone from Two Seekers Northeast. Alex Ritchie says, "Who gives a toss? Someone helicoptered it in. Somebody helicoptered it out. All to cause hysteria and further distraction protocols. Move on. We're at war, remember." Well, Alex, firstly, I don't know how it got in there. No one knows how it actually got in there. A helicopter will probably be the best way, considering the lack of roads and other ways of getting in. Someone helicoptered it out. No, excuse me. For what we see, someone wheeled it out by hand in a wheelbarrow. They brought some small handheld hand cart, and they pushed it out. All to cause hysteria and further distraction protocols. I don't think so. I mean, I don't see how this is a distraction. I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's as I said in the last video, maybe it's a distraction we need, because I know we're at war, but things can, if you just focus on that and nothing else, everything can just get you down. This is a way. What this gave us was maybe a bit of a rest and recuperation. Hugo Rune says it wasn't a bloody monolith. There's nothing lithic about it. I know, Hugo. It's a monolithic. Monolith means a single stone, and I know lithic specifically refers to stones. So I know it wasn't a monolith. It's a name that's somehow stuck. It's like crop circle has stuck, even to describe formations in the corn and the crop, which are not actually circular. They started off as circles. Excuse me. They started off as circular, and they became different shapes. And it turned out that the name crop circle just stuck. Steve Sanderson said it was last seen circling the moon. In fact, it was seen circling Europa, the moon of Jupiter. If you read Arthur C. Clarke, you'll know that. Steve071 said it's all just a David Blaine stunt. He was planning to come out of it when Trump was no longer president. BLM, Blaine's lost monolith. Steve, I do wonder wouldn't that be funny? I mean, do you think is like David Blaine couldn't be in there for 5 years? I know he sat inside a glass box hanging above London for like a month, but there's no way he could stay in something for 5 years. Even David Blaine can't do that. But I know he doesn't like Trump. It's possible he was planning to slip in there maybe just before the inauguration, supposedly, of Joe Biden, if that ever happens. But maybe it's just a trick that went wrong, in which case he won't confess. But it could be David Blaine. It could be David Blaine put it there. It may come out that it was David Blaine. It's his sort of style to do something like that, yeah. Woody Black says, does Steve Mumbling ever chat on the live streams? I've never seen him on there. I don't think I have. No, Steve's a bit of a lightweight. He says, no, 7 p.m. in Oxford is 3 p.m. here. I'm sound asleep. He can't even stay up to take part in a live stream. Honestly, you think these Aussies are tough? They're not. They need their beauty sleep, don't you, Steve? You need to get your head down and have sweet dreams about skeptic things. Yeah, well, never mind, Steve. You can always watch the recording and comment, which I know you will. Besides, the way some of my live streams go, some of them are like, I'm still going at 11 p.m, which is 7 a.m. where you are. Charles Unleashed says, well, damn it, Steve, this is Ben we're talking about. Any and all excuses are all absolute rubbish, yes. A steaming pile. Ravenhill, the Druid Sword Merchant, 1968, says, also, Ben, what do you think of Katie Hopkins? Katie Hopkins, I think, is... I hold her in much higher esteem than I used to, actually. She used to be some, really spoilt brat kind of person on media. She's actually talking openly about political issues now and raising legitimate concerns. I mean, I think she's wrong about a lot of things. She's bought into the old counter-jihad line. I've done entire videos on that. But I think her heart's in the right place. I think she means well. And she really has sacrificed her mainstream media career to talk about what she's talking now. Paul Wolstenholme, how do you do? How do you do, Paul? Welcome. I don't think I've seen you before. Hi, Ben. As you will know, even Richard Dawkins is on record saying he cannot be 100% certain that God does not exist. I think your permission is and was okay. Thanks, Paul. I mean, I do think, yeah, I'm glad you agree. Dawkins actually, not only is he not 100% God does not exist, he actually said at one point, he admitted that it was an unfalsifiable hypothesis. He said, there's no evidence anyone could present to me that would convince me that God existed. Literally none. And as you probably know, and he certainly will know, an unfalsifiable hypothesis is a fallacy. So there you are. There's no point arguing with him. Literally nothing that he could think of would convince him that God exists. Even if he saw like a man coming down on a cloud or a voice from the sky or something, he would still put it down to something other than God. Well, then there you are. BM 2018 says, a New York art exhibition has admitted creating it. It's not a real alien artifact. Look, I know it's not an alien artifact, but I do doubt the claims of that exhibition. There is a like a what looks like a replica. It looks, because apparently John McCracken, it was made by John McCracken before he died, and it does stand to this day in this art museum, in this art gallery. And indeed, I talked about this on the live stream. Excuse me. Whenever I'm broadcasting, it's either an itchy nose, or it's coughing, or it's yawning. I'll never be able to do one with all of them. I do question, actually, if that's the case. Firstly, we don't have a proper attribution. I mean, you know, if you're trying to track down an attribution to an artwork, it's not always easy, because some people claim to have made something when they didn't. Sometimes fake signatures can be put on things. It's always a really difficult process. Steve Palmer says, Ben, have you ever been in the care of a mental health professional, been in a mental home? ? Have you ever been told you have trouble deciphering fact from fiction? Think twice before you answer, because I'll be cross-referencing your reply. Steve, I believe you're referring to a certain video made by trolls about me, which I've talked about before. Now, can I ask you first, before I answer that, why does it matter so much to you? Why have you posted on a video? I mean, I don't mind people going off topic sometimes, but this is very off topic. On a video about the Utah Monolith, to focus on a personal issue to do with me. I don't mind answering questions. I have talked about this subject before, so I'd be hypocritical if I told you I'm not going to say anything. But I'd like to know why you're so obsessed with this, because you have been. And I'll need to know an answer to that pretty soon, because, you know, Steve, I think the next comments reply video is going to be very unique. And you'll know what I mean when you watch it. Benson Fable says, Romania. Thanks, Ben. Yes, the Romanian monolith has appeared. Yes, at Pietranium. It's this weird thing, which also has been destroyed. It's like they seem to last a couple of days and they're gone. And the California one's gone too. Apparently there's a video of the California one. I just found out. I can't be bothered to watch it. The California one, as I said, it appears to be less robust. It wouldn't be surprised if it was actually some kind of plasterboard or cardboard thing. It certainly was not attached to the ground. That's what we're told. There was no foundations to it. Michael Snow says Gonolith, Gonalyth, I don't know what that means, Michael. Is it connected to monolith? I don't know. Israel Diego Vera Genius 2 says BLM took the monolith down because it wasn't black. Yeah, they'd probably, if it had been like the one in Close Encounters, not Close Encounters, 2001, they'd probably have left it there because it was black. Funnily enough, the other BLM, Bureau of Land Management, did say they'd probably have to remove it if someone else hadn't done it. And funnily enough, also, there's a double irony to this, Diego Rivera, because the people who destroyed the California monolith apparently were right-wing Christians who thought it had some connection to immigration and Antifa, so it's kind of opposite thing now. Douglas Smythe says, "What a dumb thing to say." Is it? I think Diego Rivera was just making a joke, you know. And Diego Rivera says to Douglas, "You are the one who's dumb. That monolith has more charisma than you do." So, Diego Rivera, sometimes you've got to fight fire with fire, don't you? David Smith says here, Steve Mumbling took it, Ben. He's making sure you can't prove him wrong. I thought first time he saw it, someone would be on a plane. And Steve Mumbling says, "Do you want to buy it?" David says, "Is that what you got on the coffee table in the middle of your living room now then, Steve?" Oh, he's got something there. I remember, yeah, he's got some kind of ornament. He showed it us once. What was it? I'm not going to trawl through all his old videos. But Steve Mumbling has some kind of thing on his... He has some weird thing on his... Yes, I remember that. But, you know, I did... Obviously, the people just don't appear to... The people who took it, or apparently took it, don't appear to be motivated by the intention of making money. They seem to be... Excuse me. They seem to be... They did it out of concern for the environment, because they don't want loads of people traipsing out there and dropping litter everywhere and things like that. Patrick Patel says, "This is cool, Ben. Maybe the reptilians used the Utah Monolith as a prop for a Bohemian Grove-like event to celebrate the progress of the hybrid hominid aliens, brackets humans, on Earth. They probably did all kinds of stuffs around it, like a crazy orgy, sexual rituals and sacrifice. Who knows?" Oh, God. Steve, Patrick, I think you're letting your imagination run away with you a bit. But, you know, I know what you mean, and it's always a possibility that it has some kind of black occult purpose. It is. That is a possibility. As I said, the occultists, they love their deserts, Jack Parsons, things like that. Funnily enough, someone said to me that someone suggested somewhere it might be a movie prop, because they do sometimes old movie props appear in places, and apparently some films were made in that area. They're very popular for westerns and things like that because of the landscape, you know, the red ochre and the bluffs and things like that. It's typical sort of John Wayne country and things like that. But in which case, I mean, what you see there doesn't look like something from a western. It's a silver prism thing. If it was another movie, I don't know what the movie is. I mean, if you watched a film where something like that appears. If so, I mean, I'd be curious to know. And if it does, we can find out where that scene was shot and whether perhaps they left something behind, forgot to clear it up. Who knows? In reply to Patrick, Paul Wolstenholme says, "It must be the fresh mushrooms, Patrick. Let's have another cup of tea." Oh, dear. Are you suggesting Patrick was a little bit high? Steve mumbling! "If you're going to read out my comments, please do so accurately." Oh, I'll try, Steve, but sometimes I slip up. "You read 380 degrees in a circle. That's 360. Oh, my goodness me, Steve. Call the police. Get the Tipex squad out, will you? I mean, goodness me. That is unbelievable. Okay, I know there's 360 degrees in a circle, all right? What is it with you, right? That some of you've latched onto this. I said 365 degrees in a circle. Of course, it was a slip of the tongue. I meant, of course, there's 360 degrees in a circle. I know that. There's 365 degrees in a year. It's 365 days in a year. I was getting confused. But seeing some people have just jumped on top of that, and they keep digging it up and reopening it and tearing it out for people to see. Anyway, he says, "I said if you think I'm getting up at 3 a.m. just to watch you on YouTube, you're flattering yourself in the extreme." Oh, Steve, man, you're breaking my heart. Are you telling me you don't have that kind of commitment? I know you love my channel. You won't admit it, but you actually love it because you watch it continuously. But come on, mate, come on. If you ever get insomnia, you know what to do. Just see if I'm doing a live stream. "As I said to Charles Scott, you're rambling, Charles. QED. Can't afford your Thorazine. By misreading my comments, they lose all meaning. Either read them out accurately or don't read them out at all. Don't butcher them." Well, I'll try not to, Steve. If I made a mistake, apologies. But I've never deliberately tried to misrepresent you. And also, the comments, I don't edit the comments or remove them. I mean, they're there for everyone to see and read. Steve Mumling replied himself. Oh, he replied to Watch Him, He's Not One of Us, who I can't see again for some reason. Why is it sometimes I can see Watch Him, He's Not One of Us and not others? Does he keep blocking me and unblocking me? I don't know. But Steve replies to Watch Him, He's Not One of Us. "I should know better than to expect any kind of accuracy from Jones. This is more my cup of tea." Well, in what way? I made a minor error on 2 occasions. Firstly, reading out your comments, then saying 365. I mean, come on, Steve, come on. That is being extreme. It makes me wonder why. Like with Steve Palmer, why are you focusing on these things so much? What's this anyway, Steve?
Betfair are giving customers
hang on, what's it ad?
£5 exchange bet.
Oh, bloody. Ads. Oh, right. Oh, come on. Oh, this is the Laughing Gnome by David Bowie video. Oh, right.
Shuffling away.
All right. All right. Okay. You're a David Bowie fan. That's more your cup of tea. Okay. Well, I've not heard that song by Bowie, but I'll have a listen to that. Anyway, let's just quickly pop over to. Let's quickly pop. I have put tags and everything. Let's quickly pop over to BitChute and see if there's anything on there. It wasn't last time I looked. Nope, no comments. on BitChute, on the BitChute copy of this video. Let's just check. Actually, I'll just check the live stream as well. I'll do that on. I'll actually do that on. No comments on the live stream. I'll tell you what. I'll just do that also on the. I should also do that actually on now, because there could be some that were posted there since the last comments reply video. Hang on, let's have a look. Steve Palmer says there's an echo in here. Oh right. I think you mean because the pinned comment is the same as the video. Okay, well I'll unpin it. There we go. I have to unpin that. Right, here we go. Patrick Patel. That's replied to. That's replied to. Replied to. I think not many people have replied on here. No, I'm just going through the various comments there. Terry Winter, Ben W, and then Diego Rivera informing me that it had disappeared. Yeah. Then TK going on about being I know there are 360 degrees in a circle. Adrian Jones, Michael Snow, Charles Scott, and of course I did reply there to him. Terry Winter, Steve Mumbling. I don't think there are any new comments apart from that one by Steve Palmer. There are no new comments on here. Okay, so I'll leave that as well, just to quickly pop it up. Now what I'm going to do now is check. Now I'll go check to Odyssey. Now library's not working for some reason, which is I hope it comes back. Let's just check my comments on notifications on Odyssey. Right, I've got no comments on Odyssey. What about library? Is library working now? No, I think it's still down. Oh dear. Well, I hope library comes back. In the meantime, thank you all for those comments. That's much appreciated. Don't forget to check out the comments reply videos. And if you haven't seen them before, there's 35 past ones, and there's a new one coming soon.
And thank you to each and every one of you for your commenting on the previous videos. I will be doing a comments reply video sometime before Christmas. Probably it will be maybe week after next, just before that we enter the Christmas period. But I want to get it in before Christmas. But there may whether I'll do another Monolith video, I don't know. It all depends what happens. We'll have to wait and see. But this subject does fascinate me. It does. I mean, I'm really interested to know exactly how this kicked off. I mean, the real big mystery, I think, and the question that still remains: where did the first monolith come from? Who did it? I don't believe it was John McCracken. Well, he died before it was erected. Someone in 2015 or 2016 decided to go to the effort of installing this object. Now, is it a weird coffin? I mean, did whoever demolished it, whoever removed it, if it's maybe Mr. Slackjaw, or whatever he's called, it may not be him. That might be a cover story. It could be something else. It's possible they found something inside it. My initial speculation was that it is actually a human body, and what we're looking at is some kind of weird coffin. Somebody just maybe made a request to their friends: look, when I die, can you just tell everyone I've given my body to medical science, and then just leave me in an upright position in the desert in this thing. After 5 years, of course, there'll be nothing there but bones, but who knows? Or it could have been not chocolate buttons. I don't know who suggested chocolate buttons, but it may have had something inside, I don't know. But someone went to a lot of effort to put an artwork, if that's what it is, in a location where it was unlikely that anyone would ever see it. Or put it this way, there was less than even chance that anyone would ever find it. I mean, the helicopter crew who first spotted it, they said they were very, very lucky they happened to be flying over just the right spot at the right time to see this object. So obviously this person put this artwork up not knowing if anyone would ever see it. Why? What does it mean? Does it have some kind of meaning? Is it just a piece of conceptual art that symbolises something, or is it just something subconscious they decided to do for the hell of it? I don't know. Modern artists are a weird bunch, they really are. But we may find out. Someone might confess. Obviously, a lot of people, probably there are going to be a lot of fake confessions saying, yeah, I made it. Can I be on TV, please? Can I be famous? No, well, it's more likely to be, they would have to provide proof that they've done it, I think. You never know. If there is, I mean, knowing me, I'll probably end up doing another video in this series. If I tell you this is the last Monolith video, then there'll definitely be another one. Always happens. Just like, remember that mummy thing in 2015? It was the same. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate you watching. There'll be other videos in the pipeline. I have plans. Don't forget to keep your eye on the channel. Thank you very much. Hospital Port as pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.